very least gaining an ounce on their gorgeous body. If you're wondering what the answer is, it's my demon, Coop. She can and has since the beginning of October. I tweaked her cheek, then smoothed her skin with my palm. What's the big to-do about having teeth anyway? She planted her hands on her hips and gave me a strange look, one I think was meant to be skeptical. That was one of those expressions, wasn't it? Well, it is true they're not good for your teeth, but one more isn't going to kill you, Coop. Not after all the junk you've eaten today. And yes, it's an expression mothers often use to prevent their children from overdoing something that has too much sugar. Her eyes narrowed as she pursed her lips. Humans baffle me. I chuckled, smoothing my knee-length red satin dress over my hips. Me too. So what's the trouble tonight? Don't you like your costume? It's not very glamorous, she said on a sigh as she practiced opening her eyes wide in surprise in the mirror. Running a brush through the ends of my hair, I smiled in satisfaction. I'd gotten a trim a week ago, and I was feeling pretty good about my new hairdresser, Lavinia. She was young and fun, and she'd given my hair the nice bounce and shine it so desperately needed. After my talk with a stylist named Lucinda, a woman I'd interviewed for the last crime I'd been mixed up in, I'd taken some of her advice and set about making the most of my average looks. She didn't call me average. That's just the truth of the matter. Trixie, are you listening? Brushing on some lip gloss, I tilted my head, liking the way the pale pink caught the light. Sorry, say again? I said, being a nun isn't a very glamorous costume. I hate to break it to you, but nuns aren't very glamorous, Coop. They lead simple, quiet lives and wear the outfits to match. As we'd pondered over what to wear to the shelter Halloween party, we, or rather I, laughed and laughed at the idea of doing a role swap. Sort of a private joke only we'd get, you know? I suggested Coop dress as a nun and I'd be the devil. I'd laughed even harder when we went costume shopping and I put on a pair of horns and a tail. Coop? Not so much. She'd said, "You look nothing like the devil, Trixie Lavender." And I'd asked, in a mixture of abject horror and curiosity, what does the devil look like? She'd said, "If I told you, I'd have to kill you." I'd said, because how is one supposed to know if she's pulling your leg when she can't use facial expressions and she truly is more than capable of killing someone? Seriously? That's harsh. It's not like I'm ever going to have to identify him in a lineup. Then she put her hand on my arm, another of several firsts for Coop these days, and laughed her fake laugh. No, I don't have to kill you, but I'd rather not tell you. You won't believe me. So I'd coaxed her. Oh, come on, Coop. What does he look like? Jason Momoa. I'd stared at her, unblinking, my shock plain on my face. Really? The guy from Game of Thrones? I'd begun to branch out with my binge watching as of late after watching nearly every mystery show since the beginning of television, which might be a clue as to what my personal life is like, and am currently in the height of Game of Thrones. She'd stared right back at me, equally unblinking, and said, "No, I'm just joking." Man, I'll tell you, if she ever needs to bluff at Texas Hold'em, she's a shoo-in. Then I'd laughed and explained I didn't necessarily need to look like the devil as much as resemble a symbolic figure for people to understand my costume. After that, we'd settled on my devil costume and her nun costume, and believe me when I tell you, I laughed over the irony of our outfits enough for the both of us. Spritzing myself with some new perfume I'd purchased, I looked around for my pitchfork in my small bedroom with its bed so puffy and wonderful, made up with crisp white linens and a duvet cover in white with tiny blue flowers. A pitchfork is something else Coop informed me the devil doesn't have. Also good to know, if you're ever in the position where you need to identify him, that is. You'll know he's a cheap knockoff if he has a pitchfork. I saw it sitting on the small, cream-colored wingback chair with a matching faux fur throw and went to grab it to take with me. "So have you heard from Father O'Leary since his last call?" she asked, her tone pensive. My breath caught in my throat. Just as we'd been sending the group of bikers who'd been enmeshed in the death of their friend back home to L.A., Father O'Leary, the priest I'd retrieved that darn relic for, and, as you know, the man and mentor who'd started all this mess with my demonic possession, had called. We'd only chatted about pleasantries for a moment before his voice had changed, and he'd suddenly been in some huge rush to get to the task of